do it with intensity or not at all.
Welcome to the Intensity Podcast. I'm your host, Hans the Hammer Hartleben, joined by the one and only Payal Patel. Nickname is Pi. P-I. Got that out there? Hey, guys, we just got back from Arizona, literally. The Grand Canyon. The Granny. My computer off the screen a little bit here. Company trip. Today, we're going to dive into that as much as we can. It's hard to describe what we endured, quite honestly, okay? But we're going to do our best to catch you guys up to speed, put you in our shoes, what we were thinking, why, and what we went through. We're talking about the Grand Canyon, rim-to-rim, one-day hike. So I'm just going to dive into it right here. All right, so for our company, we have a fitness company, Fire Fitness Camp, and Rehab Supplements Lab. And we call it our front line. We have 6 people. We have myself, Payal, the president. We have Sheila Doherty, who's going. VP, also a co-owner of a franchise location. Max Olson, 24 years old, fitness director, workout nut, right?
Yep.
And then we have Kevin and Stacy Peters, who are co-owners together, husband and wife of Fire Fitness Camp Plover. And they are also ex-Marines, okay? Very, very mentally tough people. And I had a wild idea, had a hair up my ass, so to speak, to go do something. I just personally now just felt a little complacent, felt a little too comfortable in life. I don't like that feeling. I like to stay hungry, moving forward. If you're not growing, you're dying. And we all love to hike, okay? Here's the philosophy behind this. We like to hike, we like the outdoors, and we like the heat.
And we like a challenge.
This all seemed to make sense. It really did. And one thing with me personally is I'm petrified. I'm just going to say it. I'm petrified of heights. I'm not choosing to be. I'm so severe that, I get these vertigo symptoms, dizziness, and God, dizzy's not even the word. It's like completely disorientated,
out of your body's situation,
almost
dizzy, not nauseous, but just feeling
out of body. I never heard that term, but that's now now you know about what I got going on. So this was an idea to just get completely uncomfortable, dive in, don't think too much of it. Okay, we did our research. What kind of research have we done? We went on Facebook groups. We joined the private group Rim to Rim. We studied it for months. So this idea came about in February. We had to book a room early in the Grand Canyon Lodge. That's at the North Rim. We'll get into that. But we really wanted to bond as a team and overcome something abnormally difficult. And guys, this was fucking abnormally difficult. I don't know what else to say. And we're going to dive into it. Anything to add with that, Pi?
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so for training, we talked about what it is. It's the Grand Canyon. It's 23.5 mile hike, 10,000 foot elevation change. And we were going to go from the North Rim, which is the more scenic, more pretty, I guess. I don't know. The whole thing is beautiful, I guess. It is outstanding. It's not beautiful to me yet because I'm still scarred. We literally just got back a few hours ago. And We were choosing to do this in one day. You people can go camp. They can do 3 days, 6 days.
And a lot of people do. A lot of people do that, right?
Yeah, they're going for fun. We had a little more challenge in mind that made things a little adverse, okay? A little more pressure, I guess, we took on. All right, we talked about who came, 6 of us, basically in couples. We were talking about traveling in couples. Say something happens to me with the heights and I can't go. I'm completely stymied. I'm slowed down. Pi would therefore be stuck with me. Okay, so then we're not holding everybody else up. Something happens to one of Max or Sheila, and then Kevin or Stacy. But then we ultimately decided, well, after talking to my dad and some other people, my dad's got a lot of hiking experience, all stick together. But that could be tough because you have different ability levels. And it sounds easier to wait for someone than what it really is. We saw, we'll get into how Max was flying and he could not slow down. Even would hurt him. It doesn't sound like that would be true or make sense.
No, it sounds like that would be easy to do, and that's kind of why we took that route or that plan. But once you actually are out there and doing it, it's a whole different beast. Training,
we're in a fitness company. We all work out every day. I've been working out at least 3 to 5 times a week for 30 years.
And most of us are doing intense workouts,
FIRE, functional intensive resistance exercise, hard cardio, hard legs, total body, core, everything's involved. Also, I added a stair climber for myself. I added a stair climber. I started with 85 floors. I went to 110, which is as many as the World Trade Center. That was kind of my target goal. Went to 150, and then I was doing 200 floors. 3-hour workouts. Felt great. Legs felt strong. We'll talk more about that. Research, we looked at what you need. We talked to people who have done the Grand Canyon rim-to-rim hike, such as Jenny Tank, Trevor Tank. They were franchisees of FIRE, good friends, trusted source. Derek Toshner, who is basically above an outstanding athlete, is also a professional mountain climber. Climbed the top of Mount Denali. I'm talking gear, pounding, I don't even know what you call them. The stakes in the walls and climbing. He's a climber. Okay, so this was a hike for him, but these people went over and beyond with their advice, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, definitely. Information was abundant. It was incredible. We took all the advice.
We had the information.
Yes.
We didn't go illy prepared. I would say that I went in a bit ignorant, and purposefully ignorant. And to me, ignorance, a little bit of arrogance and lack of information.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted, though.
I guess I don't even know what I was thinking. I have no idea. I'll be honest. I wanted a challenge, yes, but this was beyond what I could have imagined it was going to be.
And we're finding already the human mind has a way of healing, and things become less severe as the time goes on, and you forget. So we wanted to get this out there right away. Well, it's still so painful, and we're going to try to retrace all those steps. So the plan was to go from the North Rim. And guys, whoever's listening, hopefully we're picking up some people that are interested in this exact hike. This is a legendary, world-renowned hike. Rim to rim, you can either go north to south. Derek Toshner, he actually went rim to rim to rim. That's 46 miles. That's insane. Awesome, though. Super inspiring. But the plan was to go from north to south. And we'll talk a little about our travel, okay, as we go. But as far as gear, you want to break down some gear?
Yeah.
What we went with?
So backpack, of course. You've got we had 2 3-liter bladders. So most of the time we filled those up about 2.5 or a little more. of water. One had water. The plan was one would have water, one would have electrolytes. So we could switch back and forth and have them on both sides and both shoulders. We had gaiters. That was huge for the dust, especially someone had mentioned, I forgot, I think somebody in our shuttle mentioned if you are, Hans with his allergies and his asthma, for him to be first, because if you're, say, in a group of 6, third, fourth person, or the last person, you're going to have the previous people kicking up that dust. But not to mention it got windy, it kicks up the dust anyways, and you're just breathing that in. So the gaiters were huge to have.
I do want to add super quick. I went into the urgent care a few days before. We left Thursday. I went into the urgent care, Tuesday, Wednesday. Bronchitis. A lot of things against us here. You started coming down with something last second.
Yep.
But, we had a team here that was depending on us, and we didn't say no. We showed up.
Yeah, for sure. Gear-wise, those still, we had the sun hats, with the brim. What do you call those?
Bucket hat.
Bucket hats. Having a larger brim would have been better. But definitely that stayed really tight on us.
And they were black. That was not the best choice to me.
Right. The only reason we did black, though, is because we had our branding on them, and we all 6 of us had the same hat. It was kind of cool that way.
It was cool. A couple people said that on the trail.
Right. So that worked out. What else? Gosh, obviously snacks-wise, we had an array. Amongst the 6 of us, we had an array of snacks, but I had some Skittles and Nerds and things like that for some quick sugars,
losing electrolytes, salts,
beef jerky,
protein.
We've had, what else did we have?
And
corn
more
nuts,
sodium.
Salty things, Gardettos. A few other people had some Stinger waffles, and
Sheila had those fruit chews.
Yep, energy chews.
I really like those.
Those were great. Gum was nice to keep your mouth just having some saliva and not going dry every 5 seconds.
Something to do.
That was another thing. I took some sugar packets from the hotel the night before and threw those on the side, and that worked out great too. But as we didn't end up eating as much as I thought we would end up eating. It was more so the water or the electrolytes,
And when you're that hot, I don't want to say I knew it. You're not hungry. You ever work in the yard for a day, 10 hours, 12 hours?
But it wasn't about being hungry. It was, like most people had told us, eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty.
But what I'm saying is food sometimes will bog you down.
Yeah.
Food will bog you down. Of course you need the electrolytes. Of course you need to stay hydrated with water. Those were the big ones to me. Food, we could survive. We have plenty of body fat, as human beings to break down and convert into carbohydrates and protein and everything else if you really needed. So it wasn't about eating to me. But that maybe was just a personal thing.
Yeah, I think some people had mentioned that they ran out of food even on that group page. And even, we obviously didn't want to be in that predicament, but also we had to keep in mind we don't want our bags to be too heavy because we also are strapping on, these backpacks the water weighs so much too.
Fluid is so heavy. So 6 liters of water itself.
It was getting.
With everything else, there was minimum 30 to 40 pounds were on the back.
Yeah, definitely. So having that, I know, so Sheila had Yetis, like the insulated, she had brought two insulated tumblers, which was huge.
Those came in huge.
Yeah,
Good job,
definitely.
Sheila.
Yeah, so that was huge because there was ice available at the bottom of the canyon. She got some ice. The water, having that ice cold water was probably the best feeling ever.
It was. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And the ice cubes, we get into stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But just in case we don't cover it.
For sure.
That was huge. Ice on the neck.
Headlamps was a big one. We had a poor choice of headlamps. They died.
We'll get into all that.
So, but if we're
chargers,
talking about
then we
gear,
had chargers, portable chargers
Yep.
for the headlamps, for the phone.
But
we
it's
had
just
everything that we needed,
Yeah.
we thought.
Yeah, definitely. What else? Are we going over all the gear then, or?
Well, shoes. shoes. I had Solomon, what are those, Sport something
Solomon
9.
Speed Cross GTX, Speed Cross 6 GTX.
Hiking shoes. But they tell you the biggest mistake you can make, and footwear is so huge with this. Toenails, got to cut them short. They can lift up going down the hill. Once you have problems with your feet, you're done. But I broke mine in. I put a lot of miles on those Solomons, even with the little, not cleats, but rubber cleats on the stair climber, and they felt great. And I also did bring a backup pair. My most comfortable shoe I have, if I had one go-to shoe, it's very old, ASIC gels. They feel the best on my feet. What did you have for shoes?
I had Noble hiking shoes. I don't know if they still have them, but I got them years back. They have always worked well for me, so I stuck with those. I know it wasn't recommended by anybody to take those shoes, but they work for me, and I actually had 0 feet problems at all. I mean, besides a little bit of soreness towards the end, it wasn't 0 blisters, 0 toenail things, none of that.
Well,
So,
I wouldn't say not recommended by anybody, because they say wear your best, most reliable, comfortest shoe.
Yeah, for sure. As far as some of those brands that people would recommend on the pages and all of that, the Solomons were definitely one of them, and a few other ones that are out there. So, and I believe Sheila had Hoka shoes, if I can recall. Max had the Solomons, a different version, but same
model.
same brand.
Kevin and Stacy had climbing or hiking sandals mixed with their shoes, so you could switch them up.
Yep.
I thought that was a good idea. Okay, so we're going to leave the plan for travel. Leave from Appleton, Wisconsin, straight shot, direct flight to Mesa, Arizona. Okay? I'm going to speed it up. We leave Thursday night. This is just last week. What is that, the 18th, 19th, something like that? Get off the plane, beautiful plane ride, 0 turbulence, smooth air, 3-hour flight, 115 degrees. Bam. Mesa. 1,000 elevation. I'm going to talk about the elevation change from time to time, where we're at. That's important. And we drove, rented a SUV. Kevin and Stacy got their own car. Max, Sheila, and us went and got a Tahoe. We drove it to Williams, Arizona, Route 66.
Yeah.
Was that, how many hours was that? 3 hours?
About 2.5 hours up north from Mesa.
Wanted to get as close to the rim as possible because, mind you, the next day we got a 5-hour shuttle. We're dropping our car off at the South Rim, Bright Angel Trail. We'll talk about that. And then it's a 5-hour shuttle around the canyon. They got to take you around the canyon. I mean, I guess you can get a helicopter. I would do it if I did it again, and I'm never doing it again. I would do that. But 5 hours. So we dropped our car off there. We're going from north to south, like I said. Let's talk about the shuttle ride. We get up there. We stop at Williams. Everything's great. Now let's fast forward the shuttle. Chad was our driver. Very experienced guide. This dude has done it all, man. I'd say in his late 50s. Just living off the land. Moab, Utah guy. Living in Arizona, rock climber, hiker, everything. Base jumper, skydiver. This guy did everything for real, though, and he was legit. So I sat shotgun, but everybody else was pretty much packed in this van, and it sucked. I mean, it sucked for them. I got easy. I talked to Chad. Chad had 3 rules, and these came back.
3. I thought it was 2.
Hang on. 3 rules of the Grand Canyon. She doesn't care. She's always hungry. And if she gives you shade, take it. And oh my God, were those true? She don't care.
No.
That fucking canyon does not care about you at all, and she is hungry. She will swallow you whole and want more. And the canyon does swallow a lot of people. The canyon kills many people I don't know how I forgot the stats. People die, a lot of people die at the Grand Canyon from suicide. We'll talk about that. The Colorado River takes a lot of people. I think that's the number one killer.
Yeah, you're not supposed to dip in there.
That's what Chad was saying is it looks calm and beautiful. It takes your ass goodbye. So you never touch the Colorado River. Stick with the creeks and the streams.
People taking weird selfies on the edge there. Just whatever.
People die
happens.
from selfies at the Grand Canyon. Okay, so we're checking in. We survived the 5-hour shuttle. We're checking in at the North Rim Grand Canyon Lodge, and they don't have our reservation. Forgot about that, didn't you?
Yeah, they originally didn't have our reservation. I thought it was under his name, so but we did end up getting the rooms. It was under my name, I believe, or individual names.
I should have thought about that. Just every other room on the way up and stuff like that was in my name, and I just wasn't thinking clear. I should have. But it went okay. We went out to the overlook. Petrified of heights. They have a crazy ass North Rim overlook. I think it has a name. I don't know. It's famous. It's scary. Everybody helped me get out there. I just want to emphasize the help I had from my team. You guys, Sheila, Max, Kevin, Stace, everybody was just. That's what got. I want to be able to do this. I'm just. That's the way it is. Proudness aside. Complete, wholehearted definition of being humble.
Yeah.
I was humbled to the core. Please understand. Being humbled isn't being proud. I was not proud. I was humbled. I was absolutely nothing in this whole equation. Okay, so we decided to leave at 11 o'clock p.m. Anybody that's following this, and I think this might be a very boring podcast for people that aren't familiar with the Grand Canyon hike. This might be phenomenal for people that are interested or have done this, because you always hear the great, the shiny stories. You
always see the smiling photos and everyone, look at the canyons behind me and we did it, or just in general, just happiness. I think people are missing the boat on some of this other stuff that happens, or the reality of what went down.
We went off that, though. We went off a lot of the shiny faces, the shiny, happy people. We did it, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's what's out there.
Holy shit, but you don't hear about the horror stories. And I would love to do a documentary on finding these people that had the bad stories, because we weren't the only ones, guys. This episode's called The Grand Canyon Hike from Hell. And so we left at 11 p.m. because of the heat. Now, you hike from the top of the North Rim to the bottom, which is also called the box or the oven or the frying pan for a reason. You don't want to spend a lot of time down there. That's where Phantom Ranch is. It sounds cool. We'll get into that. They have some lemonade down there. But you don't want to be in the box from 10 to 2. That's the rule of thumb. That's the heat. And we're going in mid-June, and we know that purposely. This was part of the challenge. I'm just being straight with you. So if we left at 11, we're kind of doing the math. We'll get out of the box in time, okay? So it's dark outside. We have our headlamps, and we begin. It's 2 miles to the trail even. So we had to hike to the trail. Mm-hmm. Got picked up by a guy, gave him a few bucks, and we began. Downhill in the dark. It was fun.
It was fun.
I was having a great time. We were singing.
We were in a good mood. Obviously, we just started. And looking back, I don't even understand how we really could see anything. The headlamps were great. The path's what, 4 feet?
4 feet in the North Rim.
So, I mean, not too wide, but sometimes
no, that's not wide.
You can't really see anything. So for him, it was really good as far as his heights go.
Well,
so,
when you started, like, I didn't have any problems because it was like through the woods first.
True, yeah.
Things were like normal hiking. I was like, fuck, this is nothing.
Yeah, definitely. Then you start, you point your headlamp this way and it's just pitch black. So you know what that means. That's just a drop off.
Yeah, there started to be more and more pitch black areas, black holes.
Right. So, we kept going. So all 6 of us started at the same time. And because everyone's paid, we didn't really consider that with 6 people, of course you're going to have different paces too. Yeah. So then how do you really determine what pace everyone's going to go at? Can you even go at the same pace? One person needs a break. The other person can't really, doesn't want to wait. And then
we started getting into the couples right away, like naturally.
Yeah. So
and it seemed to make more sense. Kevin and Stacy were back. Stacy is an inexperienced beginner. Her ability level is on the lower end, and but she had that mindset, that Marine mindset. She works out hard. This was not something that she was incapable of doing, but her pace was slower.
Right.
Quite a bit slower than ours.
Right.
So we started off waiting, and it was okay. But it took us long story short, there on the way down North Rim was, how long did that take again?
So we officially started at the North Rim trailhead at 11:43 p.m. And we got to Phantom Ranch at about 9:30 a.m. So, it did take us,
8 hours? What were your times again?
10 hours. So it took us about 10 hours to get to Phantom Ranch. So that's, just for a while though, we were trying to play the catch up. So, this couple goes ahead or whatever, and then the other couple catches up, and then the other couple catches up. Then we'd start over again, and do the same thing again.
We got our dogs barking. Brought the dogs. We missed the hell out of our dogs. You unplugged that one light.
Yeah, let me grab that quick.
Yeah, we got the dogs unplugging the lights. Got to have something here. So anyways, different ability levels. We waited, and what ended up happening was our headlamps burnt out. Our headlamps burnt out, and we were stuck, dude. Remember that, Pi?
Oh yeah.
So we're waiting, and we went dark. Now we're starting to get at the cliffy areas, and I started getting a little nervous, but I couldn't see shit. What's out of sight is out of mind, and I was okay, but I was, to be honest, this was the first time I started to get concerned, is when those headlamps. And now she did her due diligence. She had the nice battery packs, the pocket juice, and it didn't fucking work.
It's not quick enough, right? It's pitch black.
They didn't work ever.
Your lights
they didn't charge shit.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. And the other thing is, so in my defense, a little bit here, but I didn't think we were going to start at 11 p.m. The plan kind of changed a little bit after I bought the headlamps, but I should have thought about I definitely would have brought at least two charged headlamps, because they're light.
They're LEDs. I would never think that they would consume that much energy.
It was just,
They're little LED things. They were bright. They were nice. They were light.
So that was definitely a problem.
Fuck,
so then
10 hours,
we had to do some switching where one person had a headlamp, the other person didn't. One person did, one person didn't. Because of course, it is.
But that's not on the way down. Both of ours died.
Oh yeah, but then Max and Sheila caught up with us.
Yeah.
So then we did do the one
Yep.
every other. So it was.
Thank you again to Max and Sheila.
Of course. I mean, there was just, they had, forgot what brand they had, but theirs was 3 batteries.
Okay.
Operated. It worked well. They, so that was super helpful.
But we got down to Phantom Ranch. That was the goal. Get through the box to Phantom Ranch. The way we were seeing it on the map was, what the hell? She wanted to bring the puppies. Anyways, we thought that Phantom Ranch was first, and then you have like a 4-mile box in the heat. So we're trudging through going, oh my God, we're never going to make it. We're not even at Phantom Ranch yet. Turns out we were through the box. Once we got to Phantom Ranch, we were there. Come on over. It's okay. And, but we hauled ass through the box, Pi. We hauled ass. We were making really, really good time. Probably too good of time, because we left Kevin and Stacy in the dust. Right?
Yep.
So when we got to Phantom Ranch, the lemonade was whatever. It was overrated, but it did taste freaking good. Okay, but I thought it was homemade. It was Phantom Ranch is kind of a dump. I mean, we weren't looking for fancy. We were just, it was just dirty, like the toilets and whatever. But overall, the park is beautiful, guys. Grand Canyon Park, they do a fantastic job. It is clean. It is nice. It's just Phantom Ranch wasn't what I was picturing. That's all.
Yeah, I was picturing a little bit more of a paradise situation, but
paradise is a little extreme.
But I was, everyone talked about it like it was, wow, like you've got to get there, and it's just
People do talk about Phantom Ranch a lot, and I don't know what they're seeing with Fanny.
Yeah, so I mean, we got there 9:30 and had the lemonade.
We waited for a couple hours.
Yep.
For Kevin and Stacy because we were hauling.
Yeah.
Hauling. We were desperate to get to Phantom Ranch, though.
Yes.
That's where we were at. We were kind of tired.
I even started running towards the end because
out of desperation.
The desperation of sort of mad though too, because everyone we'd ask towards that last 2 miles, they would just keep saying the same time frame.
Oh God, you wouldn't believe it. Hey, how far? Not about how many minutes or whatever. How far? 2 miles. 2 miles, 2 miles. And if you're familiar with hiking, 2 miles is hours hiking.
Yes.
So we thought, and then people, you're right there. But that meant miles. You're right there. You're close.
And we had 2 different maps. I mean, we had a map. It was just not, we didn't really, it didn't feel the same.
The map, I don't know.
It was a little off, I want to say. But we did. We got there. We waited a few hours. Kevin and Stacy caught up.
They were not doing very well when we saw them. I mean, we were not doing very well. They were not. They didn't look good. Kevin has just had a full knee replacement. That has not even been 1 year yet. I think we're coming up at about 1 year. He's just done leaps and bounds, though, with this thing. And Kevin's one of those guys that I told my neighbors, they said, well, what about Kevin's knee? I said, he'll limp. He'll limp the fucking 23.5 miles. It's just him, you know what I mean?
Mental toughness is beyond. It's next level.
So their toughness and their heart made up for so much. But they did not look good when they got at Phantom Ranch. And it was like, fuck. Because, guys, now we got to hike up, okay? And this is South Kaibab. South Kaibab Trail is all open, no shade, and steep as shit. So this is your last push. And South Kaibab is 7.5 fucking miles. That will take you many, many hours. We'll get into that.
Well, I mean, so that's one route, but the other, and then the original route, Bright Angel Trail, was closed. Not the full trail, but the beginning of it. So you had to take this detour onto South Kaibab and then take, there's 2 routes essentially to get back up.
So here's the deal. So the plan was, and I had everybody convinced to do this, because of my heights. Now, this was a personal thing because everybody else, physically, I was very capable, but this fear of heights, this is like the tallest thing on the planet. I mean, this is anyways, crazy idea, guys, crazy idea. If you do not like heights, if you don't love heights, you don't do this because it's not going to get better. I was hoping to overcome this fear, okay? I'm a risk-taking guy. Why can't I go to the Grand Canyon and become something? But, all right, so the goal was, if you know the trails, is you take South Kaibab to what's called tip-off. You cut over on what's called the Tonto Trail. And like Derek, it was in my mind, how Derek described it was kind of like in the old Western movies, trudging through the desert and the vultures are circling. They're waiting for you to die. And a guy actually said that. So remember that Asian guy was like, and he was in really good shape. He's like bouncing around up there, running around. Hey, you can see, guys. He goes, I almost died on Tonto Trail.
Well, he almost fainted by the end. So you have to make sure you look for the water stations. So certain water stations are closed.
There's nothing on Tonto Trail though.
Right.
So from The plan was to take South Kaibab over Tonto Trail over to Tonto. Then once you're through with Tonto, but that's the hardest part, is you got some water. So there's some water trails. Now this whole little detour we were going to take is not as steep, they said. That was what it was just so attractive to me, was it wasn't as steep, and I was getting away with something, but it was 5 more fucking miles longer.
And though, when we go back to the 3 rules, shade. Yeah. So that West Tonto Trail has 0 shade. So it was 4.4 miles of 0 shade, plus the way to get up there, South Kaibab, was another, I think, 3.5 miles just to get to tip off. So it's 3.5 miles plus 4.4, basically with 0 shade and 0 water, which the water situation ended up being okay for us. But at the time, at the bottom, we were, it was concerning. But the biggest thing was his heights situation.
I never looked. So at this point, even on the way, all the way down, even in the box and stuff by the river, I never looked. I looked in front of me like 5 feet. This for hours.
He didn't look over the edge. So that was, looking.
I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't look over.
Yeah. If you looked up a few times and I saw you kind of getting a little like disorientated. So there was just a few times, where you did try to do it, and it kind of put you off kilter there for a second. But
well, let's catch up. So we're waiting. We got Kevin and Stacy
Yep.
to get their lemonade. They're not doing that great. We tell them the plan, but we got to go now because of the 10-2 heat index deal, right? That you don't want to.
And it was,
Kevin agreed right away. We got to go.
And it was already by that
It was
time.
almost 10.
We got there at 9:30, so they got there probably around 11:30ish.
I don't know about those times because we waited 5 hours. Math
After
isn't
that.
right. Yeah. So, anyways, we leave. We walk out. We're going to South Kaibab, and 2 game wardens. I always call them game wardens. 2 park rangers stop us. We need to talk to you guys. They're right at the trailhead.
So that was at 11:40 a.m. when we talked to them. I checked the time when they had told us.
All right. And he pulled out his thermometer and showed us in the shade was 87 degrees. That's fine. Then he hit on the gravels 127. So it was 127 degrees on the gravel. They're pulling people down. There's people having some heat stroke. There's some people last week that are still hospitalized, swollen brain. There's a guy that they're talking about. They're talking about this guy that's up there. We learned about this guy early. So when you're on the trails, you're passing news like the old-fashioned way. No phones. You're literally speaking to people, and information is getting parliamented that way. And we heard about this guy that had a hard time up there that needed an evac. So we'll get to that. But they said we got to wait or we're being negligent. And here's the deal, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, no helicopter service. So if some shit went down up there, they cannot help us. So if we go beyond their word, and we were kind of arguing, just because we were frustrated, we wanted to get going. I didn't even know if I could do it. I went down North Rim in the dark. That ain't I don't know. Now I got to go up in the light. There's a lot. It was hell. So anyways, we agreed to go back. There's nowhere to go. We sat in this little creek, and it's 115, 120 degrees out. You're at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We saw 2 deer, and by the way, we're going to be putting out a documentary video on this. We did get a lot of video. I stopped getting video because I was in a hard time. But Max picked up, co-executive producer, Max Olson, picked up on that. Got some great footage, some great stuff, and we're going to be putting that together and tell the story a little better maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
A little more visually. But there were deer panting. We're at a whitetail, prevalent place here. I've never seen a deer pant in my life. We saw some snakes. We saw a coral snake, black and white coral snake.
Yep.
Max saw a scorpion. Lots. What else did we say? Big
A lot of
spiders.
squirrels, of course, but they were just
Deer.
Deer, yeah.
Lizards.
Lizards.
So we're waiting. How many hours did we really wait then? We waited till 3:50.
Yeah, so 3:50. I mean, their advice was leave at 5. The Rangers.
But it was miserable. It was like prolonging the agony, the misery, sitting on a fucking sharp rock. There's nowhere to sit.
Well, and some of us, so Max took a nap in the sun, kind of with sunscreen on a rock in the creek. Sheila took a nap. I believe everybody did except for us.
We didn't nap, and we didn't nap the night before.
No.
Have you?
So, I mean, we left at 11 and we didn't sleep before that.
Not 1 ounce.
No. We just, and I knew personally that if I were to, I couldn't sleep, but also if I did, I didn't think I would feel better waking up and then going uphill like that. So I just stayed awake. But, it was this bothersome, anxious time because you're awaiting just to go up and then not knowing if you can really even get up there. You're losing energy in the meantime.
You're losing energy in the meantime.
Down at you.
You can only put so much water on your body.
You keep drinking water and electrolytes and trying to eat something, but you're not going anywhere. So it was really, really dreadful at the bottom. I ended up, so when the Rangers told us we had to go back and wait the 5 hours, I definitely had some tears running down my face.
I thought she got hit by the heat because you're not always, the darker pigment. Your eyes were huge, glossy, and you didn't look good. I didn't realize you were kind of...
I was emotionally wrecked. I was like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get out of here. The feeling of we're in this vortex and I can't even see where we're going to get out. And not knowing when. And then I thought of, okay, if we leave at 5, that means we're going to run into the headlamp problem again. So our headlamps aren't going to work and we're going to be in the dark. It's just, there were so many factors, and people that were coming down from the south, I kept asking them for whatever reason. I just wanted someone to say, you can do it, I guess. I don't know. But I kept asking, like, how long did it take you to come down? Which route did you take? Any advice you have for us on our way up?
Yeah, we asked a lot of people.
So, and the other thing is just, sitting there, the agony of sitting there and waiting was probably one of the worst. That was definitely one of the worst parts of the whole thing. So
it was. We were really thrown. Now we're in that 10 to 2 deal, and they said 4 o'clock. We left at 3:50. We gathered everybody up. We are leaving at 3:50. It was still hot as shit. And we started up the South Kaibab Trail. Right away, we get hit with this fucking bridge. I don't know what it's called. Black Bridge, Tonto Bridge. God almighty, it's hundreds of feet long. It's got to be hundreds. I don't know how long it is. It goes across the Colorado River. I have to hang on to Max's backpack. I can't do it. It's enclosed-ish. I mean, you couldn't fall out of the thing. You couldn't fall out. But this is this fear I have. And I'm holding on to Max's backpack. He's walking slow, and we're walking on these planks. Some of the planks are petrified wood and a little demolished. God, it never ended. I asked him one point, how far? He goes, we're halfway. I'm like, oh my God.
And he was lying a little bit.
Yeah, we weren't quite halfway. And then we get into a cave, and I had not a breakdown, but I had to stop. I had to regroup in this cave. I was already, my entire back was drenched, And the thing about that type of dry heat is it just evaporates. You usually don't even know you're sweating. It evaporates right out of the pore. But my back was drenched. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. So then we start going up, and we are going straight up. Oh my God. Now, I can't look anywhere. I can't look up. I can't look down. I'm looking at Sheila's shoes. That was the job. It went Max, who was a rock star. Sheila was taking care of me, basically. I'm in the middle, and Pi's taking care of me, too. And what do you mean by taking care? Not like arm around, but just like, hey, keep straight. Okay, let's,
We'll keep looking down. I could kind of see if, up ahead. Max was he was our guide. He was our guide going up. He was coaching a little bit, but also, he would let us know, hey, there's some shade coming up.
That was huge.
Let's get up one more switchback, and then we'll hit that shade. Or, and Sheila was like, keep looking at, she would see up ahead that there was a narrow spot with a ledge. So then she'd say, look at my feet, make sure you look.
Great coach.
You know, so it was just, it was really good. We had a good thing going.
But dude, we were so freaking high. I look back, we got video. Then that Colorado River looked just so small. That bridge was so small. We were so far north of that. And it was every step we took is straight up that South Kaibab Trail. We went for miles. Okay, I was just, where can we get to Tonto and cut over? Remember my little fantasy world of this Bright Angel trail that was easier? And they said it's more enclosed and there's less cliffs. But we get going, we make it to this cutoff. It was called Tip Off.
Well, before that even, I just want to talk about.
Oh yeah, we got
so we got in, let's say, I want to say probably, I mean, now that I know what a mile really feels like, I was going to say maybe 0.75, maybe 1 mile, not even up. And we hear, we hear Kevin yelling for us, and he's waving his hands, and he said, hey guys, Stacy's
trying to get our attention. I can't look down. I don't see him.
So he's like, Stacy's done. I'm going to take her back down to Phantom Ranch. And, we see Stacy's sitting there. And
it was, in her defense, I mean, it was, every step was
incline.
Heaving.
It was heavy incline.
Heaving. Our hearts were pounding out of our chest, and the heat is directly on us. Like, should we have left?
Well, the heat was the biggest thing. That's why we kept like, okay, we need at the next shaded spot, we'll take a break. We weren't even, I don't know where it was next, but we would just keep trudging through, and then we hear him, and so he's taking her back. The thing here is...
And it was at the beginning, though. This was really at the beginning. It was,
yeah. But it was...
So that's bad.
Helicopter will only come down and rescue you if you are a medical evac. They won't come. I mean, I asked, trust me. Will you come just if we don't want to do it, and if we can't do this anymore?
She had a lot of helicopter questions.
I had a lot of helicopter questions. I mean, like, how much do I need to pay you to come get me out of this hellhole? Wow. But in Stacy's case, our thought was, okay, of course they can't come get her today because of the winds, but tomorrow maybe a helicopter can come get her tomorrow morning, and they can fly out of here. That was my thought process. And because if we all he couldn't turn around. So, we had a discussion with Kevin before we went up, because he knew that he can't, A, turn back around and go across that bridge again, but also B, turning around in general wasn't going to be an option for him.
It wouldn't be an option for any of us. Because what would we have accomplished going back down
right
to the baseline again?
We would all have to start over again.
There's nowhere to sleep.
Well,
it's like doomsday down there.
There are a few cabins. They're like years out. I don't know how far.
You got to reserve these things. The cabins are whatever. They're nothing. They did have air conditioning, but those aren't available.
No.
So we're back to the river.
So they headed back down, and we kept trudging up to this tip-off point that he's talking about. So that was 3.5 miles up incline. So we got there. There was a shaded spot. There's a, what do you want to call it? It
was not an overlook, but it was a little pavilion. And there was restrooms there, and it was flat. So we climbed. Oh my God, there was a flat space of like a couple 100 feet by a couple 100 feet. It was like awesome. Oh my God. I could look around. I could talk to people, because mind you, every break we took, which was less than a minute, I had to stare at the ground and my feet in the rock next to me. Like, people looked and they ate their little snacks, and we had our electrolytes, which I want to say something right now. I'm not just plugging our product, this Rehab Supplements Lab electrolyte product, Hydra Plus. Holy shit. I've never taken a product that I felt instantaneous result. Instantaneous, I felt stronger. Sucking that down. Now, you're pretty proud of this product. I have the nutrition label here.
I'm very proud, but also I agree, because I always have a problem with the sun and this was this entire journey. Most of it was in the sun on that hike up. I was very, very concerned about being dehydrated, having
You've had heat stroke.
It was this product saved my life on this trip, but also we were at a point where everyone was sucking down the electrolytes out of my right shoulder.
We bought 3 canisters.
We were all just sucking that same straw, we were just trying to get some of the
you
electrolytes.
Just don't care. We were already this product is freaking outstanding.
I did my research with this one big time.
Himalayan salt.
Yep, definitely. But it's Hydra Plus, rehabsubslab.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
The entire supplement facts is right there. I dare you to actually compare the ingredients to all the other electrolytes out there. There are some well-marketed electrolytes out there.
Yeah, they sell a shit ton.
They sell a lot.
Table salt.
You got to see what you're taking in. This is premium ingredients with high dosage, and it's
a more expensive product.
Yeah, it is.
But for
not that much more. But yes, it is.
The ingredients are more expensive.
Oh, yeah,
this product took a lot of money to create, to manufacture.
Yeah, definitely. So just compare and see what you're actually taking in. There's a difference, and it showed up. It showed up for us. This was tested to a high level, and I swear by it.
It was tested. Oh my God.
We've got the grape popsicle right now, and we've actually got a new flavor coming, watermelon slushy.
Yeah.
So
Which
that
we
one,
had both.
yeah. So it's incredible. That was by far, if I had top 5 things to make sure you have, this would be definitely.
I'd have this over a Gator.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I have asthmatics. But okay, so we're at the pavilion. Helicopters coming in. We got to talk to people. There's the guy we talked about. 70-year-old guy in a polo shirt. Now, we are covered from head to toe. Hoods, we're wearing full hoods, UPF material, but no skin's exposed. You can't have the skin exposed in 120 degrees. This guy's wearing a polo. He's 70. They hooked him up to an IV and they got him. He went off at his own terms, his own power, but medical evac. So then we had to wait there because they didn't want us going while the helicopter's flying around. It was so dusty as it was. So me with the heights, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Yeah, so we waited. That was another hour or something. We waited a lot. This is a long day, guys.
We did run into a really nice couple at that pavilion area. They had offered some beef jerky and some water and just advice in general, because that is when we were really contemplating, just a little bit before that, we had made the decision that we are going to head straight up South Kaibab instead of taking that Tonto and that longer trail.
I had to get out of my own. I was going to hold people back. This was a selfish move on my part. Kept hearing Derek in my mind saying, don't do it, don't take that other route. It's too long. It's too draining, as far as your energy in the sun. And I was all for me in the heights. So I threw in the towel and I said the right decision was to continue on South Kaibab for the team. It was.
It was, and it did end up being the right decision, but gosh, it was.
Well, we thought we were gonna get done before dark again. Now remember, we started
3:50 p.m.
We started our hike at 11 p.m.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
so
we did. So those people really reassured us that we could do it, that they're going to be taking that route, and everybody else in the pavilion, which there was a good group of people in there, they were all taking that same route too.
Yeah.
So for me, anyways, my deciding factor for myself was I wanted to be with more people. I guess more so just in case something were to happen. I don't know if
it was getting scary.
It just felt like a safer route because there are other people versus taking a route that maybe no one's on, and where. What if something happens?
People need people. This was a great example. And that Chinese couple, you could tell they're well off, super educated. I guarantee the guy was a doctor. High-end type of clothing. Very polite, very educated. But we would be switching with them. So they're a couple, and they would go up, and then they would rest, and their hearts pounding, and then we would pass them, and we would say hi, and she would always ask, "Everything okay?"
Yeah.
That was so nice.
It was.
And we started to get to know these people by accident, like really deep. like sat with them a couple times. Our phones are dying. She offered a charger. This was way at the top. South Kaibab Trail does not end. You know, we read that. People, the trail from hell, you know, the never ending.
There's so many switchbacks. So the switchbacks are if you're going, you go up and then you turn, and then you go up again and you turn and you go up. So it was just
up and up and up and up and up, and it never ended. And then we thought we were at the top. 2 miles. Here's this 2 mile shit again. 2 miles. Do you know how, okay, so we were going so slow because it's step by step, up, 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 then turn. And then it's that switchback, up, up, up. 2 hours is what? Well, 3-4 hours. Correct?
Yeah. So
At the
2
way
hours,
we're
we
going-
were going at probably, 40-minute, I want to say, gosh, were we going at like 40-minute miles?
If not longer. And it was just stepping up.
It felt longer, but it was probably, we ended up, because we got up the entire 7.5 miles in 6.5 hours. So probably 50-minute miles.
But so on the way up, we get to the top. We're like, it doesn't end. It gets dark on us. Here we go with the lamps. They've been charging the headlamps.
We thought they were
Nothing.
charging.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So we used Max and Sheila's again. Max had one out front. I was in the middle with a headlamp, and I'd have to face it. I don't know. I never told Sheila this because she didn't have one, so she used my light. But every switchback, I would adjust the headlamp to crank on the wall, the rock wall. I couldn't look. I couldn't see these cliffs, these edges. So I had to shine the light on the wall. So every time we turned, I adjusted the headlamp to the other direction, every
Yeah.
single one.
Yeah.
And we did this for hours.
It was hours, yeah. And also the other thing is one of those headlamps, so I don't know if it was Max or Sheila's, one of them was also dying. So now we've got one on low, one on high, and it was just, you know, I'm keeping up right behind. I'm using his light, Sheila's using Max's light, but here's Max is, you know, he's in phenomenal shape. Guy is incredible. He's like a machine. He kept going, and for him it was harder, and I get this, it was harder for him to wait for us.
Yes.
So he's going ahead, you know, and then Sheila
He was
can't
kind of
see
scout. He was
something.
scouting, you know, too. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
he
mean?
was, but also like, you know, so it's harder because the second you stop, your body kind of wants to cramp up a little bit. So, and it does. It starts to kind of just get tight. You feel it even. You feel it starting to kind of get tight. So you got to go again. You got it was better to just keep going.
And for me personally, and you can attest to this, you guys wanted to rest a little longer, and I get it. But literally, if you're familiar with heights, if you have a disorder with heights, like I'm afraid of heights. If I waited more than 15 or 20 seconds, I started thinking their brain does some evil things about falling off the edge. So I was starting to have some issues with falling off the edge and getting dizzy. I would get dizzy.
You were getting
if I
dizzy.
sat there for 15 to 20 seconds without moving forward, I was getting dizzy. Dude, if you're dizzy up there, you're done. You are done. Then what? You think they're just going to throw you a rope and you're going to come get you, or some helicopter's going to come? You're screwed. You're screwed if you are. You're screwed if you aren't. Either way, you're screwed.
That's what the feeling is unexplainable. I know we're going to, we're play-by-playing this a little bit, but
Talk about the death. You thought about death how many times on this trip?
Oh yeah, on the way up, starting from the bottom up is when all my thoughts of, okay, I'm probably going to die. So what's all going to happen with that?
And I know you guys don't understand how it doesn't sound that bad. I mean,
it doesn't. That's why it's hard. And I keep saying this, but it's hard without doing it. It is really hard to explain to somebody the feeling of how we all felt.
So then we're going back to that stat on suicides, though. How are there so many suicides at the Grand Canyon? Now I kind of get it. You feel like if you're not completely solid mind. And I was. Otherwise, I would have been screwed. I knew enough not to rest. I would have probably jumped off.
Yeah, the resting, to me, I was like, I knew that the combination of heat and keeping my heart rate way too high was probably going to be bad for me. So I wanted to keep resting just to bring it down back to a normal level and then go again and then bring the heart rate down. But it was one of those things like, yeah, when we did stop, you're sitting on a pointy rock. Your one leg's trying to make sure you don't fall the other way.
Oh, God.
And then if you look this way, you feel like you're going to fall that way. So it's just, there's not that much, at one point he needed water from my bag and my body couldn't even I didn't want to get up to even walk.
No, it was hard on her. I ran out of water. I ran out of electrolytes and water.
But I mean, we all together had enough though. I mean, it was.
What a team though.
It was
it was quite the team.
Unreal.
It was really, really powerful, guys. Really a powerful thing. And we're not saying we encourage it.
I don't encourage it.
She doesn't encourage it.
I don't encourage it for anybody unless you're somebody like Derek Toshner or somebody who is next level hiking experience, all of that, climber, whatever it might be. This is for next, as far as the one day. I can see splitting this up in 3 days.
But if you're afraid of heights, I'm just going to interject. This is not for you. So this was not for me. Okay? Physical, you can do a lot of different physical things that don't include thousands of feet of elevation, 6,700 feet up in the air. I mean, my God, water towers are only a couple hundred feet.
I mean, even that 2 mile, we asked, oh gosh, I don't know why we were asking people, but I eventually, as you get higher up, of course, you start getting self-service. Most of the phones were dead, but mine was still good, and I think Sheila's was good. But I was looking to see, and I typed in, how far of a walk it's still going to be on the trailhead. And so it said 2 miles. That's basically 2 more hours. We were, at that point, that's when we were like, wow, I don't know if we can do this.
And so I want to be clear. We did think that we, at one point, many points, we weren't going to get off. It didn't end.
It didn't end.
It didn't freaking end.
And it just kept going up, though.
Up.
As much as we went up until that 2 mile, then from there, so the last mile, which we thought we were basically there at that point, someone had said, okay, this is the last mile. We ran into those people that we met at the pavilion.
It's all relative. You're almost there.
She's like, oh, this is the last mile, though.
If it's a 14-hour journey, yeah, you're almost there because you only got a couple hours left.
Well, she said that this last mile is the steepest part.
And I hated to hear that.
So
you guys have no idea when I heard that. And we're always like the whole time too was, what does that mean? Like, I see lights. What does that mean? We were desperate for news. Like, it's over. We're there. We see it. This is it.
We never saw it though. That's the thing.
Never saw anything.
It was too dark. But the lady, I even asked her, I go, do you think we can do it? Like as if she knew us or something. I was like,
you're like a little kid.
I was like, do you even think we can do it? Like, can we do this last mile that's so steep? I mean, it was just insane.
Think about this. One more, when I think that we're almost done, we have another mile and it's reported that it's straight up. It's just like the bad news, guys. I'm telling you. The bad news never ceased. It only increased. It never ended. The agony never ended.
I didn't even care if there was a snake or a scorpion.
No, we sat down. I would have gladly sat on a scorpion.
I didn't even care. Yeah, there was stuff that looked like a snake. I don't know. I just poked it with my stick and kept moving up.
And she's afraid of everything if a mosquito flies on her.
Okay. But yeah, so it was next level, absolutely crazy. When I saw that parking lot and the cars at the top, I just went, I ran there and I just laid on the floor and on the ground. I laid on the ground. Sheila, at the last 2 miles too, she ended up getting dizzy and a little nauseated. She actually couldn't really speak about how she felt.
That was my coach.
So she was basically just, she couldn't even speak. But she was, you could tell we were taking a break. She needed the break, but we couldn't take a break, so we had to keep going. She was an absolute, trooper. She just kept
elevation.
going.
We think it had to do with elevation. Elevation's got a lot to do with this. I can't believe it didn't affect us more.
She just didn't say a word, though. She just kept going.
Well, you know what? I will say we were strong as shit. Like, my legs never failed. Nothing. If I rested for 15 seconds, I was good, like with the heart cardio. That was really, I was happy. I was happy with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I was really happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with that too, and all of us did very well that way. It was more so the agony of never ending.
And the heights for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think waiting at the bottom is what really got me mentally. That's when we started and then we got turned around by the Rangers. That's when I mentally just broke down and didn't think we were ever going to get out of there. And then waiting and waiting and waiting and then starting again. That's what I think really, really made this that much worse. But the team bonding, it felt like we went to war together. I mean, it truly did. Kevin and Stacy stayed, so backing up to them, so they stayed there.
But then I'm going to talk about that because I'm going to talk about the hotel.
Okay, well, I got, what hotel?
I was staying at the hotel, and then I can get into that.
Okay.
So we finished 23 hours. So that was the time. When we finished, complete turnaround time from start to finish was 23 hours. Now, mind you, we had many hours of waiting. We had to be held back. There was a lot of waiting, not moving. So, I don't know, we figure 16, 17 hours of moving. We did the rim to rim in one day. We went to our hotel that night right away. And so not sleeping for an entire 24 hours and burning probably, I don't know how many calories, 30,000 calories, 20,000 calories. Every time my eyes closed, because I'm sleep deprived, I felt falling off a cliff. So I was having nightmares, instant nightmares every time my eyes closed and my head's bobbing. Now picture, we all been to that state where you're so overtired that your head falls. And I had that, and I am falling off these frickin' cliffs. My God, it was hell. The hell wasn't over for me. Then I'm flinching. Remember my arms and legs? I'm flailing around.
It was like you were having seizures. It felt.
It felt like seizures. It was a type of seizure, instigated by thought. Trauma, traumatized body, traumatized mind, and then my legs both seized up. So, this cramping is not the word. Both legs at the same time because I'm flinching my muscles involuntarily with these nightmares, and both legs were so painful we thought we had to go to the hospital. I was going to need a tranquilizer, muscle relaxers, anything to help my mind and body. But both legs were completely, and the pain, I have never had cramps like this where both legs from the hamstring to the quad, the calf, they were shot. They were done. She drew up a hot bath for me to sit and soak those muscles. She's trying to massage me as they're cramping and I'm screaming. Oh, God, is this fucked up?
I didn't know what was going to happen. I truly thought we were going to have to call ER or call the ambulance or go to the ER. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I took the electrolytes actually. I put 3 scoops in a bottle of water and made him drink it. And then, to try to prevent, help with the cramps. And then the hot water helped. I mean, then after that, you were okay. You were still having the twitching of the closing your eyes and thinking you were going to fall off the bed and you were going to fall off the cliff. And
it's not often you fall asleep and you're dizzy and you're falling. Yeah. You're falling.
You were just falling the whole time. And then
absolutely terrible. So we're there. We got, I don't know, I got maybe a couple hours of sleep because I was up all night with the cramps. You got some sleep.
Yeah.
And the first thing in the morning, now remember Kevin and Stacy are at the bottom.
So just so you know, I actually did, either I texted him or I think he texted me via satellite. So at the bottom of the ranch, at the Phantom Ranch, you don't get service. So you can use satellite on your phone in order to,
which is a pretty neat deal.
It's pretty cool. You can see
turning your phone into a satellite phone.
I've never done it before. I saw that actually on the Rim to Rim Facebook page. Someone had mentioned it, but your phone does automatically tell you or alert you like, here, use satellite. So he had texted saying that they got back down, that a ranger had helped them get back down there to Phantom Ranch and that they are okay. They're going to, and basically he just kind of told me he was going to be okay. And then when we got back to the hotel that night is when he had texted about leaving at 2:30 a.m.
They were going to try it again. So this is back to what I'm saying. This is what I hear the first time I open my eyes. And we barely made it, guys. I mean, and I hear they're trying it again.
I was freaking out. I'm texting his daughter, Kayla. She's calling he called her from a landline down there. I'm texting him, multiple texts, all caps. Do not do it. Do not go up either one. Figure out a way to get a helicopter. Let's get a helicopter down there. Let's get you guys out of there. I'm freaking out. I mean, I am seriously freaking out.
Well, we did. This is how severe it was. We prayed for them. I mean, we prayed on the trail for these guys. Because my thought was, okay, he's gonna take her back down there, and they're gonna do a medic evac. Easy. From there.
I just thought, okay, that's gonna be the plan.
Though, yeah.
They're gonna be okay. They're gonna do the medical evacuation. It's gonna be okay. It's just gonna be the next morning, which is okay. That's fine. But I didn't plan on them trying it again. I mean, I was flipping out. So he did, though, then satellite text and say that they weren't doing well right away. Because remember, guys, right away, that first basically 3.5 miles, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's very agonizingly long, is straight up. So that's when
she is not great with heights either. She's better than I am, but she is not great with heights.
So that's where they were, and he said they're not doing well. So I'm like, okay, oh God,
bad.
This isn't good, And so
I'm just happy he was honest.
He was, a little while later, though, we found out. So they decided to take the longer route, but less agonizing, which
I thought it was still a good move, though.
Still a good move, but we'll find out as far as how that really ended up going for them tomorrow when they fly back in.
You wouldn't know because they wouldn't know how to compare it to which one was better.
Right. So that's
that other
true.
one was.
That's true.
I don't think it was doable. That South Kaibab.
It was just so yeah. They did get past Tonto Trail, so they're 7.5 miles in, and they got to a point where he said, "We're okay. We're going to take a long break and then continue on." At this point, the whole goal was, yes, as far as for them, was to finish. But it did not matter when they finished,
God, no.
But did we know anything more about their headlamps and their food and their water? But the trail they took had plenty of water stations. 3. So that's the nice part about the fact that we knew they were going to be hydrated. Yep. We knew they were going to be in a shaded area versus a straight up, leaving at 2:30 a.m. They were in a good position as far as the sun goes. The sun wasn't going to be beating down on them. So that part was good. But again,
he texted you, keeping you in the loop as far as their. Remember, he texted you they're at the 3 mile rest
house.
Wow.
That was.
Then we were like, they fucking made it.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna do it. And then he texted me at the 1.5, and then the magical words.
I will tell you,
are done.
The amount of heart by those two is immeasurable.
Absolutely. I absolutely.
I mean, we think there's no, it's not possible. It was possible, and they did it.
So they started their hike at 2:30 a.m. from the bottom. They took the longer route, so South Kaibab, Tonto to Bright Angel, and they ended at, was it 8:30 or 10:30? One of the two. Let's just call it 9 o'clock. They ended 9 p.m.
So 20, what is that?
I mean, that's...
How many hours is that? I didn't hear the first time. There's been so many times back and forth. How long did it take them?
So, I don't know. I'm thinking, I thought it was 18 hours or so. So...
just on the going up?
Yeah, just going up from bottom to up the south. So, I mean, either way, though, again, we still don't know, how that really went.
They're still not back.
Yep.
We plan to sit down with them and regroup and just find out more. We all got to get together and just and regroup here mentally of what happened.
Yeah, they're in Arizona tonight, and then they'll be flying back. We got different flights for them coming back tomorrow. But we've been texting today, and they have been, they're definitely depleted, which was, we did that. We went through this, so it's sounds very familiar, but they're okay.
And they're having the nightmares.
They're having the nightmares. They're super sore, of course. I mean, it's their body's feeling it. He had mentioned that he had about 450 calories on the way up, the entire way up. So they were, but they had water, and they're feeling it, of course. But they did it.
But they're alive.
They're,
and they even took a freaking photo. You saw it.
I
They
know.
took a really nice photo.
So on the way up, I do regret it now.
Yeah,
of
we
course,
stopped.
But I couldn't even. I didn't even have energy to grab my phone.
No.
Max, thankfully, he got footage. He got some pictures.
Yep. Watch for that YouTube video.
Yeah, he did very, very well with all of that and took over. So I mean, it was quite a journey, you guys. I don't know. I mean, did you want to go back through anything you said? No.
No takeaways. At this point, quite honestly, there's not a lot of take. I'm not proud. Like I'm not me personally. I'm not proud of it. Well, but we did it. I'm not there yet. Maybe in the next few weeks, I'll look back and I'll start grabbing some wins out of it. I shouldn't have been there with the heights. This was way more than physical. This wasn't just mental either. This was a heights thing is completely different. And it was unsafe, really. The ignorance was something that got me, and I thought about it all the way up. But I'll tell you what, I got a takeaway. If you need to do something and you don't have an out, you can fucking do it. You can do about anything if you have to. If you could put it in your mind that there's no other option, that's what we all did, including Kevin and Stacy.
Yeah. I mean, the mental toughness I still can't get over it. I mean, it's just, yes, you have to, because for me, it was okay. There's only one way out. And you need to go. You can't do anything else. You can't go back down. You can't get a helicopter up there. And I mean, it was just, you got to go. It just never ended. I don't know. It's not something I'll ever do again.
No.
Max said he's going to do it again though. So that is incredible. He's going to head over there probably with, I think he said his brother-in-law, which is incredible.
He knows the trails now. He knows,
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. Once you start knowing this stuff, you can really thrive, and then you can start helping other people. You could take other people on your, you can make events out of it.
I can see that. I can see once now that we've done it, you can going again and all the things you learn and using it to your advantage and all of that. That of course, but
one thing I will add, just at the end of the trip, the trip didn't end. Our flight was delayed 3 times. We finally got out of Mesa at 7:30. It was supposed to be like 4 something. Then I joked with Sheila. We landed in Appleton, Wisconsin at 12 o'clock or something, midnight. And I said, watch, they're not going to let us off the plane. And they didn't. Their stairs were broke. I shit you not, their stairs were broke. I got photos of this.
I got videos.
We got videos, and we had to document this. 15 guys in fluorescent vests. Well, first they couldn't find the mobile stairs. They got to find the pilot's like kind of laughing like this is ridiculous. Yeah, they don't know where the stairs are. They got to try to find them because the other ones are broken. They find the stairs. They don't have, those yellow or white like little truck things that they move stuff around, like powerful diesel. You had to like back it up like a trailer. Nobody knew how to drive the thing. We're watching this. 15 guys with their hands in their pockets, like county workers,
they're all pointing at it. They're discussing it. And they're kind of you got a picture though, like our plane, the heads on every single window, just staring.
There's a face
them.
in every window.
That was probably another 30, 40
It was
minutes
easy
tarmac.
30, probably 40 minutes.
Yeah,
they figured out how to find the stairs, and then they just unhitched it because it was on a hitch. Nobody could back it in or push it. So they just did it by hand, and then they had to line it up. And oh my God, we finally got off there. And then we had to go through like an emergency exit or entrance.
With stairs.
With alarms going off, with more stairs.
Yeah,
that was our trip.
That was the trip.
And as Max said, that was, how do you say it? So from the North Rim to very south.
Yes, very, very south. it was, I don't know. It hasn't really soaked in yet. I know it's something. My mind the entire time, like even at Phantom Ranch, there were people like playing Frisbee and like hanging out and loving life. I don't understand
There
it.
were people camping 120 degrees with no shade. They're paying to be there. Anyways, we got to wrap this up.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening. HansHartleben.com. Rate it. Share the episode. If you're interested in hiking, share it. Rate it. I love it. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.